Kevin and I recently discovered a Must Ministries thrift store. I was immediately drawn to this small wardrobe. I kept calling it a closet because I thought how wonderful to be able to provide somebody closet space in a small nook of their home where they're trying to arrange a guest room, as well as a coat closet in a small home or apartment that didn't already have one. Now, there are things I know I want to address. If I can find the right size hinge, I want to replace these hinges. They're very unattractive. They gotta go. The biggest thing I have right now are the legs. They don't screw on or screw off. They're attached somehow with a bolt or something on the inside, and they're wobbly right now. So I need to find out, is there going to be a way I can better secure them on the inside of the cabinet? But if I can't, I'm going to have to replace them. There's a lot to do on this piece, so let's go ahead and get busy. Now, because these hinges are giving me such angst, I thought, let me see if I can replace them before doing anything else. I went to Rockler and found these 3/8 of an inch inset partial wrap hinges with the help of a nice gentleman there. Happy dance. Oh my gosh. I'm such a nerd. All right, I'm gonna turn the camera off and finish and do the other side. Oh. The easiest way for me to be able to access the legs is if I take this backer board off, which I'm doing very carefully because I'd like to reuse it. So I'm using a multi-purpose tool to try to gently pry up the nails, holding it in place. So now I have a better look at it. I don't know if that's a nail that I can pry up by slipping something underneath that silver part. Well, that one looks like it has threads. It does have threads. Okay. And it's screwing out. What in the world? Well, lo and behold, it does come out. But these, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to try putting that there, causing some tension to see if I can now unscrew it. Oh my gosh, they come, what is that? Oh, this is a hanger bolt. This threaded, large threaded area is what's supposed to screw into the wooden leg with the smaller thread exposed. Let's put that in. For some reason, this was not getting a tight enough seal for the leg to stay steady. I'm going to see if a simple bolt will do the trick. I think this might work if I had a washer behind her. So let me go try that. So I have the washer and then the nut, and I tightened it, and it's nice and firm. I'm reusing these legs. Yay! Now that I have all that figured out, it is time to go ahead and clean it. Now I've already vacuumed the inside of the cabinet. It was so dirty. So that's done, but now I need to clean every surface that I'm going to paint with a TSP alternative. I need a good degreaser so that I can remove any furniture wax or oil from people's hands, whatever, away from the surface in prep for painting. Now before I do that though, I need to remove this handle here. I don't want to reuse these. I'll be putting something else in its place. I also need to remove this key cover. Now, there is a working or a workable lock on the back. I would love to find a key to allow these to work. So I'm going to look at the information on the back of the lock to see if there's a company that I can contact. Let me go ahead and get these removed so I can start cleaning. This piece has a ton of knots. And like any other wood, the knots oftentimes have a texture to it which you can't really see in its natural state. But once you prime it or paint it, look, part of my paper towel got hung on that one. Once you prime and paint, you'll start seeing these things. So what I'm gonna do is go around and start filling some areas with Bondo, including the original hardware holes. I started sanding the repairs as well as the whole piece. There are so many dents and dings in this thing that I had not filled, and I was hoping I could sand them all smooth. Now I started with a very coarse grit, 80 grit, because this top coat on this piece is tough. It's thick. So I started with something very coarse. I went up incrementally to then a 120, 180, and finished with a 220 grit. You have to go up incrementally like that to avoid any of those pesky pigtail swirls. I have wiped off the dust first with a slightly damp rag and then with a tack cloth. Since it's an abysmal day outside and spitting rain, I'm going to skip priming. I'm going to put an undercoat on this. If it bleeds, I'll spot spray with clear shellac. But I have determined that no matter how much sanding I do, there are far too many dents and cracks in the knots for me to get a smooth finish. So I'm going to do what is most forgiving. It's the Pottery Barn Dupe that Shannon Wilcox over at Black Sheep House introduced to the internet. You've seen me do it countless times. I'm going to start with a light gray undertone instead of a light tan. And I have something called Revere Pewter. It's the same undercoat I put on the dining room table if you saw me do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and watch to see if it bleeds. If it doesn't, then I'll proceed to do the glazing technique. Now the glaze I'm going to use is Rust-Oleum Transformations glaze, and this is in Java Brown. I use a regular paintbrush to paint the glaze on. This goes right on top of your dried paint. I'm using a deck brush as well as this wallpaper brush. It's my favorite coarse hair brush for this technique, but it is very important to periodically remove the excess glaze from your brushes that you're using to create those striations, because you don't want them to get oversaturated. Now a deck brush is very dense and the bristles are very soft. So once you have gone in one direction pretty much with your paintbrush applying the glaze, then you go in one direction. I'm gonna go vertically for that wood grain, and you go down in just straight lines. We're working on that grain. As you can see, you're already starting to see some striations, okay? Is it finished? No, but you can see what the deck brush can do even just by itself. It's very cool. I love this process. So this is the wallpaper brush. Here we go. This area right here is a little light for me, so I'm going to go back with my deck brush and go over that area. It's going to apply more glaze because I have some on my brush. So see, you have time to go in there and fix things. So I have a little more glaze on there from this brush. And now I'm going to switch back to this brush and go over it. And it's light pressure. It's light pressure. Let's see if I smooth that out. And I did. Now, I knew I needed to replace the warped curtain rod, but dowels are so expensive. So I went to a thrift store to see if they had any curtain rods, and lo and behold, they did. I found this beautiful wooden one for just $1. What a bargain. Hot dog. I was successful in finding not just a key to go into these existing locks, but 2 brand new locks. They're really pretty. I was able to buy 2 sets of locks and keys on Amazon for a total of $5. Great bargain for locks that work. That's all I'm going to show you. Now that the piece is done, I think all I need to do with the legs, since they've been sanded down to bare wood, is treat them, nourish them with some Big Mama's butter. As I rub it onto the legs, it's just bringing the wood to life. It looks beautiful. I'm missing one of the caps. I'm just going to leave the 3 caps off, and I'll paint that bottom section of the leg a flat black, and then I'm going to be done. So I got ahead of myself. I thought I was done and completely forgot to put a top coat on it. So because it's way too cold to go outside, I'm going to brush on some Dixie Belle's clear coat. It's a satin finish. I'm going to go all the way down the piece so that I can then smooth it out in one long stroke. I'm finally finished, and I absolutely love the way this turned out. I'd love your feedback too. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave me a comment as to what you think.